Brilliant. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming and attending for this webinar. I'm Brian from one of the consultants for the GC&DC, been around for quite a while, and the team is here today, the consultant team. So welcome. Alex?
Oh, you would like me to say something? I'm one of the consultants too. And I'm Alexandra.
Banita?
Hi, I'm Banita. Alex will be there for most of the competition period at the center. So if you're coming in to hand in your pieces, you will be greeted by Brian and Alex, who will be willing to help you walk through which sections to enter, etc. I'm Banita. I'm in the background usually, answering all your queries by emails. And we have Peter Crump, who is ex-GC&DC chair, trustee and council member. And Brian?
Trustee. And then Ty Wong from welcome, Ty, and thank you for joining us today, because although we're in the UK and it's really lunchtime when we're probably hungry, you, I think, have had your meal and it's sort of in Hong Kong, it's nearly going to bedtime. So that you can join us. So Ty is from the Platinum Guild International, one of our new sponsors that have joined the GC&DC. We welcome them back greatly because they were with us when there was a London office of PGI, and we've met Ty on a number of occasions and has shared good screen meetings together. And conversations, and we're really excited with the brief that's in the 2D section that we're going to expand on as we go through this webinar. So welcome, Ty. It's great to have you on board and on this webinar with us as well.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you, guys. And on behalf of Platinum Guild, just want to express my gratitude and the honor to be part of the GC&DC Design Contest, to be able to support this meaningful and esteemed platform to nurture the dialogue of design talents. It's amazing. So I'm very honored to be part of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. Okay, guys, we're going to kick off with a brief overview of the competition. I'm sharing my screen right now, so you all should be able to see a little QR code. Scan it if you have time. It's just a link to our briefs, but we will post a link in the chat as well so you can follow us through. Today's session looks a little like this. So we've just gone through the introductions. I'm going to run through key dates and the competition structure. Then we'll move on to 2D design sections with a spotlight on the 2D Platinum brief with Ty and PGI. Then we'll move on to 3D sections and then your questions at the end before we close. So first, key dates, which I'm sure everyone has in rote memory at the moment. 14th of January at midnight, which is a Sunday night, is the online entry deadline. So we really encourage everybody to try and get your entries in before Sunday if you have any troubleshooting or issues with the internet. And then 16th to 18th of January, this is when we require all your entries to be submitted at the Goldsmith Centre in Farringdon, not the Goldsmiths Hall in St Paul's, just because we have had a few pieces fly over there. You can post them in. We would prefer them to arrive that week, 15th to 18th of January, as the team will not be there prior to the 15th of January. So it's just so we can check it in and ensure that everything is as it says on the tin when you packaged it. And then your pieces will be returned between the 13th to the 15th of March following the awards ceremony. Again, more information will come out about return, and there may be an exhibition afterwards, which we will tell you more about if you are an award winner. So ensure that we are on your contacts list on emails as well. It's another one. Oh, I went the wrong way. Another key day is the 4th of March, 2024. So if you are an award winner, you'll be invited to the award ceremony, which is at the Goldsmiths Hall, Foster Lane. It's a beautiful building. The award ceremony takes place in the Livery Hall and everything is top secret. So you will not know what you've won until you attend the award ceremony. It will be live streamed, so family and friends can tune in. And then following the award ceremony, from the 5th to the 8th of March, the hall is open. The exhibition room at the Goldsmiths Hall is open, so you can come and see the award-winning work for 1 week.
Just to
And
say,
then,
Banita,
yes,
just to cut
sorry,
in,
go
'cause
for it.
that's it. All the award-winning work will be exhibited. Everybody that's won an award will be in the exhibition at Goldsmiths Hall. Just to confirm, if you're reading that as potential entrants, be assured that if you win an award, whatever level it is, gold, silver, or bronze, they will all be included in the exhibition at Goldsmiths Hall.
Yes, that's correct. And then the awards annual is published after the event, so sometime in April. All award winners will receive a complimentary copy, and so keep an eye out for that in the post if you win, which I'm sure many of you will, since you're attending this webinar.
The
And
guarantee.
yeah, right. Structure of the competition. We have a 2D section and a 3D finished piece section. The 2D section has about 10 design briefs, which I will share my screen when Brian goes through sort of the 2D part of the competition. And the 3D section is for finished pieces, so physical pieces that have been finished. The difference between both is that the 2D design sections are specific briefs. So each of the 10 briefs has specific requirements and rubric for each one. It has a different outcome for each one. So you can only enter one 2D design section with one of your design boards. The 3D finished pieces, which we'll go into, is a little bit more organic, but we can run into that later on in the
Just to say also, Banita, that
webinar.
you can enter more than one section, but not with the same design. So
That's right.
if you're
Yes.
energetic and you want to do more than one section, you're only so welcome to do that. But it obviously has to be one design per section,
Yes.
and it can't be shared across the others.
So Janet, if I remember rightly, Janet won 4 golds last year
She
in
did.
2D design.
Yeah, she did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And any questions and queries, please note down our email address, save it to your contact list because we do get a lot of bounce backs. So yes, please make sure we can get through to you as well. Right, and on to the 2D design brief section. So before we kick off, I think I'm just going to show you where on the website that you will be able to find this. Give me one moment. Here we go. Right. Can everybody see this page? Alex, Brian?
Not at the moment. There's a
No.
No.
Interesting things happening.
I think
Give
it
me
was
one moment.
there.
Now?
That's it. Right.
Brilliant. Okay,
And
great. So this is the 2D part of the competition. As you can see, it's here under briefs. Click there, and you can see the 2D design sections. If I scroll down, here are the 10 briefs listed here, and each one has a different, so I'm going to go straight to PGI actually, because we might as well. Has the brief outline as listed here, and then an opportunity, which if you win, you will be eligible for. And then key requirements here. So please note things like the maximum presentation requirements. They're all different for each of the 10 2D briefs. And with that, I might hand it over to Brian to do a run through of the new awards.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So for just concentrating on the 2D for the moment, as Banita's outlined, there are 10 2D design sections. That's something like we are used to enjoying having in the competition. And just stepping back from that a wee bit is that we've got 29 sections out of our 33, I think it is, that have a sponsor behind them, which is amazing, really. If we turn the clock back a wee while, it wasn't anything like that. So we're really in a great situation. What's new in the 2D design sections is that design for 3D printing is back, but with a different sponsor. And 3D printing is sponsored by Alpha Laser. They also sponsor another section, which we'll touch on later, perhaps. So that's back in there, and there's some really helpful videos within there to help you if you're wondering what 3D printing is all about. Then there's really helpful visual imagery to allow you. It certainly helped me, because understanding technology is a little bit more difficult for me at my generation. And we're really delighted to have that back and having Alpha supporting it. We've mentioned platinum jewelry, which is obviously sponsored by Platinum Guild International. We'll go on to that with Ty featured as a feature spotlight in our webinar. And also brand new, but with no sponsor, artificial intelligence. We are trying to offer the opportunity to gauge, if you like, to see how many people out there would like to respond to that, where we know that AI is obviously on everybody's lips and what it's, what it can do. So if you like, we're maybe not first off the block, out of the block for that, but certainly we want to see what can happen from that. And the wordology there is trying to be as open for you as possible for those who wish to take up that opportunity. So 10 design, 2D design briefs, lots of variety within them. 6 of those are sponsored by patrons. So there's a big choice. And just to repeat again, if you have ambitions to enter more than one of them, that's fine. You've just got to do a specific design for each section. But we would also say that don't try to stretch yourself too far with your creativity and your time, because quality, and this runs through the whole competition, quality of thinking, quality of developing and of presenting your ideas is a high quality to have, a high priority to catch the judge's attention and see whether you've come up with a really good answer to the brief. And it has to be, as Banita said, it has to be to the specific brief. All of these have got specific briefs, whereas in the 3D work, it can be anything you like in relative anyway. So keep quality in mind, keep unusual, refreshing in mind as you look at those briefs and answer one or more of them. So we're really in a great position. 10 briefs, 6 patrons sponsoring them, and not any one of them is like any other. So we've got great variety across the board.
So if I could interject there, Brian, I would really urge people to read the briefs really carefully in any section, but specifically in the 2D design. Read it again, and read it a third time, because it's not just about a beautiful design. It's about a beautiful design that fits the brief. Okay. And you will stumble if you don't answer the brief.
It's a very good point, actually, Pete, because Peter is for Vipa Designs is sponsoring yet again repurposed jewelry in 2D. And if I reflect back on last year, Peter, there weren't a great amount of entries in that section, but the quality was top end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you had more time. It took you more time possibly to come to a decision because you were spoilt for choice of really good thinking and the way perhaps they were presented. And you were, for me, you were dancing around with excitement and joy. The panelists the judges were really pleased with the response to the brief. And that didn't have a lot of entries, but the quality was there in abundance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. I think we'll move on to spotlighting Platinum Guild International and the new Platinum brief. So Brian, would you like to give an introduction? I will share my screen. Yes.
Okay, so Ty, we've spent a wee bit of time looking and refining the brief. It comes with some great videos that you've been kind enough to share with us to help entrants to be supercharged, if you like, with lots of particular fashion statements through design and platinum. Platinum is you have this international hat on, which is great. And in you've been working with PGI for more than 12 years, is that right? You look too young for that, Ty. Come on, you've got to turn the clock back. So what could we just try to help people? What do PGI do?
Yeah, just to introduce Platinum Guild International. So PGI is a trade organization that promotes the use of platinum in jewelry. We've been operating since the 1970s, and we actively now work in 4 markets, the USA, Japan, China, and India. We once had offices and a market presence in Europe, including the UK, France, and Germany. And actually, in recent market dynamics, there has been a lot of uptick and demand and request for platinum. I think partially it's because currently the platinum price is less than half of gold. Historically, never seen that before. And a lot of companies, even the luxury brands, are coming to ask about, entering into platinum stocking and looking at a platinum inventory. So we're definitely seeing the opportunity to come back into Europe and to support the building of that jewelry market in North America and in Europe, especially supporting the market opportunities in the UK. So traditionally, I think you might hear Platinum Guild International's majority of work, it's around marketing aspect of platinum. So mainly on consumer education, public relations, and advertising. But in recent years, we've also worked with innovation and new technology. So adopting technology that has been used or developed from aerospace or from industrial usage, and we take it back into jewelry implementation. So some of the very fun stuff, such as specialized alloys or electroforming, and also we just touched that, which is the platinum 3D printing or 3D printing in general. It's something that we're working very actively in with various partners around the world. So leading into a little bit about what I do at PGI, I'm the Global Innovation and Product Development Director. So we've been exactly doing that, looking at new technology and bringing it into the implementation of the jewelry market. But other than technology, I think part of our focus on innovation is also on design. Because, for example, even 3D printing, that's one of the major challenges, is how do you design specifically for 3D printing? So that design, it's not easily casted, or it could be manufactured or fabricated through other means. But for this particular, I think for this particular contest and for our brief, we're not only focusing on 3D printing, but we want to focus on the general metal itself, on platinum. And I think there are some tips and points that we can optimize when we do design for platinum, because platinum has its own special attributes and has its own character. I think in the past, if we talk about platinum, many people would immediately identify with wedding rings. And I think that is still our very core market. But what we have been doing as part of market development is to develop out of just the bridal segment itself. So we have some very great success in the past in the US and in the UK. We're launching a collection called Platinum Born, and also Platinum Women that is launching in Japan. That sees the return of platinum into the self-purchase and the daily wear segment. While Platinum Men was a very successful campaign in India. And it was, I think, probably with the highest incremental business growth out of all the campaigns we've pushed. And in Asia, namely in China, we're identifying with platinum's other attributes beyond the traditional pure, rare, and eternal. And instead, we're focusing on the strength and tenacity of platinum, and to really find the synergy and the relevance with a younger consumer. So, and I think that's where we're trying to go this year for our design brief.
Okay, so would you like to give a wee overview of the brief, Ty?
Sure. As we were saying, I think finding that relevance and synergy with a younger consumer through the platinum's kind of tenacious and strength is really where we're trying to go with this year's brief. And this is for the 2D platinum category. So we're just not looking for wedding rings. Instead, what we're looking for is something that is highly stylized, very strong in character, strong in expression, something that's fun and something that's cool, something that you can wear on a regular basis. For the motif, we've worked on so many in the past years, and we've worked a lot in vintage themes, from Renaissance to Victorian to Raphaelite to Art Deco. We've worked on industrial and athletic jewelry, but I think in the last 5 years, we've always come back to one theme again and again, and it's a theme that we call Romantic Rebel. The motif comes from, jewelry of a romantic period, very bold, feminine, highly decorative, and but yet combining this romantic element with a rebel kind of character. So combining it with almost punk inspired elements. In fashion, we see a lot of that, flashing black lace with art leather or pink chiffon layers with metallic studs. The attitude is resilient, tough, and but at the same time also fun. And the clash of elements really is what is bringing out the character of the collection. So I think on the website, for a little bit more details on the style of Romantic Rebel itself, we put up a couple of design videos on YouTube that you can link to through a QR code on a platform that we run called Platinum ABC. So Platinum ABC, it's a YouTube channel, it's a LinkedIn channel, it's a Facebook and Instagram channel now. And basically we're posting everything around technology and design around Platinum. So you will be able to find the Romantic Rebel videos, the trend videos on our channel, and the QR code and the link should be on the website. So just to touch a little bit more on the actual design brief, is to develop a ring that fits into the style of Romantic Rebel. You may ask why a ring? I think simply because we can control the scope of creativity and also limit it to a particular product type, because often I think in judging, it's a little bit difficult comparing like a body jewelry to a tiara or to a pair of earrings. So we kind of want to group it and just kind of constrain it into a particular product type while not limiting the creativity on that particular product type. So that's the reason why we picked the ring. Also because we feel that it is one of the first piece of jewelry people would easily put on their body to express themselves, and that it likely would have a high commercial sort of possibility in the future. So that's the reason why we picked the ring. And just to be repetitive a little bit about going back to the Romantic Rebel brief. So I think in short, the brief is create a ring in the style of Romantic Rebel that is bold, edgy, spiked, soft and tough with dark contrast. Something that is cool enough for a celebrity to wear on a daily basis off camera. So
in a nutshell,
that's I think the nature of the brief.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And so you probably answered the next question or issue is what are we going to be looking for in what would be a successful design for to be in the shortlist for you, for us, the panel, you're going to be on the panel to consider for an award, right, the PGI award?
Yeah, I think firstly, we're definitely looking for creativity and craftsmanship. Those are the keywords. But at the same time, we just mentioned it, we really have to stay on theme because we have our guidelines. So I think reading through the brief in detail, I just did that, as you mentioned it earlier, Banita, and I highlighted the 4 points that is on the website. So one, it's actually interesting. We said, pick a celebrity, pick an international celebrity that you feel would love to wear your ring or that you want to design for. I think previously, Brian, we were talking and we actually had some names of celebrities, but in the end, we refrained from putting them in because we're afraid there was too much personal messages, like initials and stuff that went in, and it was not about design anymore. It was about customization for a particular person. And that would shift it away from the purpose of the contest. But still, we would love to hear who you would like to design for, because it's also very important to know your customer, know their style, and design particularly for that particular consumer. So the first, I think the first condition was to pick an international celebrity and share what that is like and share the inspiration your design put in for the ring that you're designing for that person. The second thing, sorry.
So I'm probably just going to say what Georgia can say, Ty, which is obviously platinum is the driver. It is all about platinum. We don't want to see other materials swamping the platinum. It's
that's right.
the uniqueness of the platinum. But rings is, because they're so durable, platinum is probably, you might argue, the best precious metal to have as a ring for nothing else, wear and tear.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think when platinum is done right, it's one of the most tenacious and toughest metal, and that's why traditionally we love to set the most precious stones and of high value in platinum. And that's what we're really going for as well in this theme, is the tenacious and the strength that is behind the metal. So yes, part of the requirement is that platinum takes the spotlight for this design. So I think specifically it says that at least 2/3 of the overall area or of the weight should be in platinum and not other metal. But we absolutely welcome and invite the use of other materials, because if you go on the videos on YouTube and look at the trends, I mean, there's a huge amount of use of pearls. For example, when Mikimoto made a huge campaign around something very similar to Romantic Rebel, having the pearls for a more gender fluid collection. That's still taking Asia by storm right now. So the use of pearls, the use of cameo, that was very popular in the Romantic days. So we welcome the use of other material, but we still ask that for metal, that you really still focus on the platinum itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely other materials, complementary materials are encouraged. Platinum obviously
Absolutely.
probably looks good with any color, with any gemstone, pearls, etc., as mentioned there. So we have given a flexible range there. It can be anything that you wish entrance, as long as it's complementary to the platinum and you are looking at a platinum statement.
But it could be
Yes,
100% platinum.
It can be,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 I think
Yes.
Alex has a
Alex.
question.
There's from people listening, I've got two major questions. One about your specific category, and they ask if they should make one ring or a collection of rings. Which one would be preferable? And I think you can give me a...
Yeah. Well,
I think in the final selection, it would be the one ring. So if they submit a collection of rings, that's multiple submissions then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
But I think they would need to relate to one another. It would be a collection rather than randomly 3 or 4 different rings.
Yes,
You'd
of
like to
course.
see either a single item or a small collection.
Complementary. Yeah. Okay.
And the major question is, what makes a 2D entry a great 2D entry?
Well, can I quick cut
Some
in?
people ask me if they could just put a picture of a piece and if that would be enough to make a good 2D entry. And I thought not. So would you, panelists, maybe?
Okay. So straight on for that. And any of the 2D design sections, whatever the brief is, judges are always inclined to warm to something that is, if you like, out of the box thinking, that is definitely creative. Haven't seen that before, or crikey, that's a long time since I've seen perhaps that approach before. Bog standard, even if it's beautifully presented, probably won't answer the criteria, the brief. So creativity and innovation, that's been the word's been used this morning's seminar, is the driver and the majority stakeholder in that. But also, if you can present well, if you've got a really good idea, a great concept, something, as I say, nobody else has come up with that before, and you can present it well, you can communicate it well on your design board, whatever media you use, then you put those two together. That's very powerful. It's not a guarantee, but I would imagine by our past experiences that if you've got a great idea in response to the brief and you communicated it really well, you're in the shortlist for consideration. That's how I would see 2D design briefs.
I think just to add to what Brian has said, for clarity, taking a photograph of a ring and then submitting it on your 2D design brief, something that's already been created, won't be acceptable. So you have to pretend that this is somebody, pretend it really is, it's somebody who is asking for a bespoke creation. So before it goes into production, you are submitting to them your proposals. So it cannot be something you've created already, or mock-ups or something. It can be some prototypes, of course, but if you've already created the ring, that's not really designed for the PGI brief or any other brief. So it is looking at how you present your designs that haven't yet been created.
And also, I would say that if there are some intrinsic details in the design that are not immediately apparent in your presentation, then feel free to itemize them. If there's a particular way you have in mind of making the piece, then itemize that on the presentation. Don't let the opportunity slip just because you want a perfect drawing or presentation.
And I'll give you one example from last year, the 2D hand rendering award. The judges were unanimous easily that this was the winner, and it had everything in its presentation, absolutely everything. It had the technical aspects, it had visual communication through the way it had been rendered, the description was fine. There was nothing missing on that design. You could take it into the workshop and leave it with the craftsperson that's going to do it, and you wouldn't need to talk them through it. It was as absolutely solid 100% there as you would wish it to be. So if it spoke all the languages and the criteria that you need to see in a 2D piece of work, and that is actually in our awards annual is Janet Weller's, when she won the 2D hand rendering award. So do have a look at that. And it was an exemplar for what a professional designers wish to see in a design presentation.
So there's a question coming right now that says, how much information or inspiration, etc., make for a well-balanced 2D design board? I think you just answered that to degrees. Do you have it?
And there are some examples in the annual, which we will give you a link to at the end of this webinar. But yeah, please do chime in if there's anything specific on that point.
So we hope that that's more than excited entrants and pass on to other entrants for the PGI Platinum and the other 2D design briefs. And we're looking forward to receiving some real creative ideas in January when we're at the centre.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much, Ty. Thank you, Brian. And we move on to the 3D sections now. The 3D sections, I'm going to show you the website now, are these three. So again, the briefs page, there's 3D finished pieces design, 3D finished pieces craft, and combined sections. I think it might be easier to show you the entry form so you understand how these sections work structurally. So once you filled in your confirmations, the about you, junior, senior, let's go down to the sections entered. Okay, so if you are entering a 2D section, it's fairly obvious, click this and select the section. So in this case, it would be 2D Platinum Jewelry PGI here. However, for 3D sections, a little bit more legwork for you. You can enter into one design section. That's only one design section. And we have them all listed here. So say you have this beautiful carafe. You can enter it into either silversmithing design. If it's got enamel work on it, you can enter it into just the enameler's design. Remember, this is
Banita. It's lovely.
Thank you.
No wine in
Primark. No, just H2O. You can only enter into one design section. So focus on what is what this, I suppose, is the strongest in these sections. Of course, you don't have to enter in a design section, so you can tick none of the above if you didn't design the piece and you only crafted it. So say we have this carafe, we're going to go for silversmithing design because it's gorgeous. And then we move on to the craft and combined sections. So now you can enter into multiple sections that adhere to what's on here. So silversmithing craft, because I crafted it myself. I also polished it myself. It's got some engraving work, maybe even some enameling, and I've got a polymer on it. So as you can see, I've entered into multiple sections. The key here is that you must have done the craft work in these sections to be able to enter it. If I did not polish it, I cannot enter it into polishers. So that's where sort of one section for design and multiple craft sections. And then you're led on to optional awards. But hopefully that explains the general structure of the 3D sections.
Just to add to that, Banita, as well, is that quite rightly, if somebody's polished it professionally for you, you can't claim that credit, but you can encourage your polisher to enter the competition on your piece that they have polished for you with your blessing. And that runs across enameling, engraving, chasing, if that's been done by another person. So that is encouraged, because we want all these wonderful people out there in the industry to show their skills. Setters, engravers, chasers, enamelers, etc. May not have made their piece. They've been contributed to it, and a major part of that is to give it a real good visual quality of difference. And we want that included. We want to encourage people to. So that's down to the maker, the owner, if you like, of the piece, to be able to share that with other people that they've liaised with and partnered with in creating that finished piece. So please do that. Pass that on and encourage.
And there is a section on the form that allows you to put the details of the craftsperson on it as well. So please do give them their dues if they have helped you. So moving on, Brian, to spotlight the new sponsored sections in the 3D.
Yeah. Okay, so in 3D, it's a bit of a mixture here. I'll just quickly say that Grant McDonald has been a long-term, forever sponsor for us, but he's decided to sponsor a section in the competition, which is silversmithing, the craft section. For the first time ever in our memory, I think certainly mine, the chasing section is sponsored by Birmingham Assay Office. Also, Ottawa have moved across from last year, and they are sponsoring the small workers and model makers section. And brand new in 3D craft, in the setters section, this is wonderful. We have a patron sponsoring a creative setting award, and that is by Louisa Guinness Gallery. And this is so this will be alongside the craft skills of setting. Well done, Banita, you got to it. That just shows the length and depth of the competition, really, in many ways. So this is really exciting. Never been done before. Louisa is looking for some really good approaches to how creative setting can be applied into jewelry for that. So that's in the 3D craft. In 3D design and craft, brand new, amazing, handcrafted silverware, and this is sponsored by the Clothworkers Company, and this is targeting, if you like, the younger generation, where they're looking for an item of silverware that is definitely and exclusively handcrafted, and they are asking also for a connection, representation, or reflection on textiles, hence the Clothworkers Company, where you could easily interpret that in engraving, in chasing, for instance, in enameling, on your silversmithing vessel. So they come in as principal patrons into the competition, so that's great. And just to complete two new people coming in, although one's moved across, is in 2D hand rendering, that didn't have a sponsor last year. Sheffield Assay Office are sponsoring the 2D hand rendering award as part of their celebrations. There it is, for 250 years of their anniversary. Ironically, that the Birmingham Assay Office has just celebrated their 250 year anniversary as well. And just to top that off as well, we go into the major awards category, and we have another new exciting sponsor, as in Tracer. Tracer is a subsidiary company of De Beers, and they are sponsoring the Junior Award. Again, the Junior Award hasn't had any sponsor behind it at all. So this is great. And you can see a bit on the website. You'll see some details about Tracer. Those are the new or moving across new within the competition in 3D, of which we've got many sections that are sponsored, which is great.
Brilliant. Thank you, Brian. Come up for air. There's loads of sponsors there. Great. So Peter, over to you. Have a few questions about 3D sections. I think it would be helpful for entrants to get an idea of what a typical judging session looks like. So maybe you could walk us through it, because it might help explain how judges sort of view the entries.
Sure. So depending on which section it is, there are different types of judges involved. There's always a council judge, and the council judge will, in all probability, have the expertise within that section. And then the rest of the judges will be made up from the sponsor and other relevant trade experts. And the point of the expertise, we don't generally come to blows, because we all know what we're looking for. 2D and 3D are quite different. If it's 2D design, it's 3D design and 3D craft. 3D design, we are looking, as it says, for the design content of the piece to be at the forefront. Inevitably, we're influenced by the quality of the make, but that isn't what we're looking for. We're looking to see a great design. But if it's a piece that's just been cobbled together, it's very difficult to recognize a great design if something's got jagged edges or bad soldering. If we're looking at the finished 3D craft pieces, then we are absolutely scrutinizing them for everything. We want to see clean solder lines. We want to see good curves, correct proportions. The piece has got to be assembled correctly. All the things you would expect of a top flight craft piece. The loops come out, the magnifying glasses come out. We want to see absolutely everything. File marks on it, bad mark. Anything that's a negative will get noticed.
I would add that in the 3 weeks that we will embark on judging sessions going on, 2, sometimes 3 a day, and 3, 4 or 5 panel members, as Peter said. There's 120 judges from the industry, experts in their own right, etc. And we do rotate, we do a rolling program of judges. This is an amazing pool of people coming to scrutinize your work. And anybody that comes and has a look at this, if we have a guest input somewhere, they are very impressed with the thoroughness and high scrutiny about what it takes to reach our gold or silver or bronze standards. So it's really important that you try to craft your pieces as high a quality as possible, because in those craft sections, that is it. It has to be, the better it is, the higher quality it is, the greater the chance of being hitting the gold, silver or bronze standard. And we invest a lot of time in maintaining the benchmark standards of the council, and this collective over 3 weeks and a day, I think it is an intensive period. And as Peter said, don't come to blows, but there are some disagreements sometimes, especially when we have technology and hand in combination with a piece. And we're relying on you as entrants to make sure in your application that you can tell us honestly how the process is that you've undertaken, i.e., is that a CAD? Is it handmade? Is it all handmade? Is it part CAD? That is really helpful. Help us to help you through what you put on your entry form. It's crucial. It's been a challenging thing for many years now, as technology clearly implodes, and quite rightly, and it's great, into our craft. And there's some cracking examples where people are utilizing both hand and technology together. and we need to celebrate that. But we do need your help to make sure we have the knowledge and information. Everything is judged anonymously, as we keep saying. And there are occasions where the judges will ask some details that you have written in your on your application form, your online form, in terms of not who you are, but what your process is, the materials used, etc., and so on. So that is really quite crucial, and it can be so when we come down to the final, if you like, shortlist before deciding is there a gold, is there a silver, and remember that it's not like the Olympics. If a more than one piece hits our gold standard, they will be awarded a gold. If there's nothing in that section that reaches a gold or a silver, but maybe bronze, that's all we do. We have bronze. So it's about standards. The whole competition is about that.
So I would just add, when we talked about the 2D design, we said put all the information that you could on the drawing to help the judges interpret your drawing. It's exactly the same with 3D pieces, that if you've developed a technique, as Brian said, technology, but it could be a hand technique that you've developed that is unique to you, please explain it, because there's the possibility that the judges don't recognize how something's done, how it was intended. It's not that anybody wants to crib your wonderful new technique, but it's really important. We had some pieces a couple of years ago that the guy had developed a whole new technique, and we all sat there, the judges, saying, well, how has he done
How has he done it? Yeah.
How has he done it?
Yeah.
So although the judges might be experts in their craft, if you've developed something that we don't know, we want to reward that. We want to recognize it. So help us on our way.
And that's a good point. And I know who you're talking about, Peter, because that the judges then were astounded by the degree of achievement, and it was done by hand, not by technology necessarily. And time and again, it took longer to come up with a resolve, if you like, because they were confuddled by it, absolutely confounded. It was amazing, and three cheers for that.
I'm going to interject, sorry, because I've got a few questions to get through.
Okay. Sure.
So, quick fire questions, if you can. I'm not testing anyone. The key question I think everyone wants answered. Great question, by the way, whoever this was. How can I win?
Yes.
Yeah,
We want to know.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a very broad question, so I appreciate it's different for each section, but maybe a general overview.
Well, overview, we've really covered, I think we've covered that as a blanket as we've gone through this webinar. But if it's a 3D piece of work that is in the craft sections, make it as beautifully as you can. Have enough techniques on it that really have tested your skills, and you show the judges, wow, that's quite a range of skills that you're demonstrating there. If it's a 3D design piece, just knock the socks off of saying what a great statement of design that is. If you haven't made it so well, then it's still going to show a design statement. But if you've made it beautifully and you put the design concept together, bang, that's fantastic. In design, we've covered this, innovation, creativity. That is the highest driver in 2D. Come up with a cracking idea that everybody says, wow, I wish I'd have thought of that. And get that reaction from people. And I appreciate we can't all do that. Otherwise, this then levels off to be ordinary innovation, if you can say that.
So come up with something that nobody has done before.
Yeah.
And make it better than anybody has done before.
Yeah, the whole competition
I'd feel fairly confident you'd get a gold for that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next is about hallmarking. Do we need to have the piece hallmarked? So Peter, over to you for that one.
No, not at all. We would like to encourage it. If you've got the time to get it hallmarked, please do. But there's no absolute necessity for hallmarks on the pieces. However, I should stress that any pieces in the competition must have been made in this last calendar year. And there's no better way to show that than if it's got a current hallmark in it. But it must be made this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not going to be judged on the quality of the hallmark, it's the quality of the work.
Yeah.
Can I
Uh,
have another
Alex.
question, which I think is
Too many questions, Alex.
I know. I'm trying to put you into a little. Anyway, the question asked: are new technologies and handmaking skills regarded as the same in when judging a piece?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you can show us great use and deployment of technology and handcraft skills, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And it's the quality that doesn't change. High standards across the board, whether it's by hand, whether it's using technological processes on its own, on their own, or in combination.
Can I add something to this though? Because the question specifically asked, would laser cutting be as good as hand making? Now, what I would answer is that maybe if you can do it by hand, if it's something that can be made by hand and you're doing it technologically, then the hand making might be better received. If it's something that hand making can do, then employ technology to do.
I think that is appropriate to what sections you're aiming to enter.
Yeah.
If you want to show laser technology, well, laser cutting is part of laser technology, and there is a laser technology section. So, but if you're wanting to demonstrate diamond mounting skills, for instance, you would certainly need to show your piercing saw skills and not go anywhere near a piece of technology kit. For that.
Each brief has it quite clearly listed.
Yeah.
If it is sort of looking for hand making, if it's design, I think the hand making is secondary to like your design concept. If it's a craft section, it will clearly say they're looking for handmade XYZ or a combination. Again, when it comes to design, the craft is not at the forefront, but it is, if that makes sense. The concept is really important. So if you've laser cut a piece, and the design concept is up there and the making is great, then like Peter said, it's a match made in heaven.
Well.
Yeah. I have a question on where's it gone? International entries. So my question is, can you participate from other countries? You probably answer this. Yes. So
golden rule is that whatever nationality you are, whether you're a student in this country, it has to be done in the UK or the British Isles as such. So at the moment, that is our criteria, and it's been there forever, if you like. Remembering that we were born as a council in 1908, so I don't think it's changed much. Perhaps we've been more flexible. So you have to have designed and or made it in the UK or the British Isles. To
but you can be any nationality.
You can be any nationality and anywhere, because obviously we attract and we welcome lots of international students into the UK to study jewelry and silverware. So that is our requirement.
Great.
I have one question actually about commercial viability. It says some sections include requirements such as commercial viability and easily reproducible. What would judges define as commercial viability? I think this is an interesting question because again, it could be brief specific, but Peter, would you like to give us some ideas about this?
I think it will be section specific because some things are never going to be mass produced. And we'd want to reflect the way it's made and certainly wouldn't insist something that was only going to be ever one or two made. Let's insist that they're cast. No, not at all. So we're looking for appropriate methods of making, I say, rather than manufacture, because they may not be manufactured. They may be craft made. So I'm sure you'll find those details in the relevant section that you're looking at. But certainly we're not suggesting a certain method of manufacture for certain areas.
I think the competition is all about encouraging you as entrants to raise your own personal bar, to share good practice, to be in this community where you can see such a diverse range of skills, talents, and opportunities. And commerciality, of course, has to be a part of consideration. And if I just relate to Ty's PGI, the platinum jewelry question, it is, there is a bit of a bullet point there about trying to make sure that your design, your creative wham bam slam design, is going to be able to be made. And out in the big wide world there, of course, we know that creativity has to be successful as it goes into the commercial market, ideally. However, there are lots of students studying this country, and we're wanting their creativity. But if you can learn a little bit about touching base with creativity and the commercial world, then that's also very helpful for your learning.
I think that seemed Alex has been doing a wonderful job of like quick fire answering the
Can
questions.
ask a question, awkward questions.
Anyone with an awkward question, I can ask for it. There's been a question that said that there are numerous categories. How do I know which category I should submit my work in? And that's what we're here for. So please do email us. If you want to send us a quick picture of it or a description, send it via email. Otherwise, on the entry hand-in days, do not worry. We usually go through your entries and make sure they are put in the appropriate sections. And that's what Alex and Brian spend those 3 intensive days doing is, this can go here, this can go here better. So they will guide you if you come in person. If you do it by post, don't worry. Again, we do still thoroughly check your sections, and we will call you up if we want to switch it around or we'd recommend it better in another section.
Can I just make one little point about 3D work that comes in? I've been there on the unpacking days on occasion, and it's fabulous that pieces are wrapped well and packaged so that they don't damage. But there's such a thing as overkill, and you have to visualize the consultants trying to unwrap your pieces. For a start, they've no idea what they're unwrapping, and whether a pair of scissors or a scalpel is relevant to get the bubble wrap off, and they've no idea what's inside this massive bubble wrap. So just have some thought for the consultants unwrapping, and hopefully your pieces will come out unscathed. I don't think we've damaged anything, but it is a long procedure to unwrap them.
It is. That's a very good point, Peter. And we have 600 plus entries, single entries in the competition. 250, 70 of those will be 2D. The rest is 3D. So it's a lot of work to carefully unpack and nurture. You come in, you post it in, and it's obviously individually nurtured. And probably it's like something you're going to put in an Egyptian tomb. It's to never be opened. But we. Yeah, okay, it's good.
I think we've covered all the questions that have come through. A lot of them have been asked in the chat. I think we fielded a few over to Ty as well, and on the 2D front. So I think we might have covered it. Yeah. Are there any questions from the crowd? This is your last opportunity before you lose us for Christmas. Nothing for now.
We've used up the hour, haven't we, as well?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I want to thank you, Ty, very much for your time today, especially with the time difference. And we're really excited to see the briefs come through, or the design boards come through now. Okay. Great. So let's have a look. I will send everyone the WeTransfer link to the annual. But other than that, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Okay. So have we got a few minutes to just talk to Ty, or when you finish, stop?
So I've just sent the link over now. Any questions, please send over to info@craftanddesignCouncil.org.uk. And again, please do add us on your contacts list. Otherwise, we do get a lot of bounce backs. You might miss something important. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Yeah, good luck.
Bye.